Hello everyone and welcome to my Magicka Warden build for the Wrathstone patch. And let's just jump into the build right away. So we are going to be a Breton Magicka Warden. I chose Breton this patch because I believe Breton offers the most sustain for the way I like to play through cost reduction. But if you'd like to play a different race, Argonian is also good, as long with Dunmer and High Elf and any other race that has Magicka bonuses tied to it. We have 64 points in the Magicka, and we're sitting at about 42k max Magicka, 19k health, which will go up to about 27k in PvP with our Battle Spirit and our minor toughness from Warden, and 16k stamina. We're sitting at about 1.3k Magicka regen, a little bit shy of 2.2k spell damage, 29% crit. Unbuffed, we sit at 13k our spell resist, and a little under 16k physical resist with a little bit under 3k spell resistance, or critical resistance. We're using the Mage Mundus to maximize our maximum Magicka. We are a vampire, and we are using the spring-loaded infusion drink. As far as gear, we are going to be using the Balorg set. This is going to give us a one-piece spell damage, as the weapon damage is useless to us, along with the two-piece, which says when you use an ultimate ability, you gain weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds equal to twice the amount of total ultimate used. I mainly use this for burst, as I don't use ultimates too often in PvP, as I like to play at medium to long range, and then when I need to burst somebody down, I can go in with a 500 ultimate Northern Storm and wipe out most opponents. For our second set, we're going to be using the Bright Throat's Boast set. This is going to give us a 2-piece maximum Magicka, a 3-piece maximum Magicka, a 4-piece Magicka recovery, and a 5-piece while you have a drink above active, which is going to be our spring-loaded infusion. Your max Magicka is increased by 1,930, and Magicka recovery by 145. This is going to give us a little bit less Magicka than what Necropotence gives, which is what a lot of Magdan use, but I feel the Magicka recovery, especially in longer fights, it really helps me a lot. Especially when I'm using the spring-loaded infusion, which is a drink that will give us 3 of the base stats for health, magic, and stamina. If we move on to our second set, we are using Armor Master on the back bar sorting board. Armor Master is going to give us a 2-piece maximum health, a 3-piece physical resistance, a 4-piece spell resistance, and a 5-piece that says while you have an armor ability slotted, your max health is increased by 5%. When you use an armor ability, your physical and spell resistance is increased by 5,146 for 10 seconds. Using this basically to increase our tankiness, along with allowing us to use a shield, where the resistance given to us by the shield will also increase how tanky the shield is itself. As far as traits on the gear, I'm using all Impen across the board, as well as using Magicka enchants on the small pieces and try enchants on the big pieces. As far as jewelry, I am doing all arcane spell damage to maximize my damage, but if you feel your regen is a little low, you can use an infused Magicka recovery on the necklace. On the front bar, I'm using a Nirnhound Master Lightning Staff, which is just going to reduce the cost of Destructive Touch, which is going to be our stun and spammable, and increase the direct damage it deals, just giving us a little bit more damage, and that's going to be with a Berserker enchant. And on the back bar, I'm using Powered to increase our healing, and Sturdy with a Stamina enchant to increase the amount we can block. I'm also using Poisons back bar. I'm using Crown Poisons right now, just as a placeholder, but usually I'll use a Drain Magicka or Drain Stamina Poisons here. And as for our skills, on the front bar we are using Deep Fissure. This is going to be how we burst and just keep pressure with damage. Using Fetcher Infection, a dot we use to keep damage. Blue Buddy, this is going to be a source of sustain and another source of major sorcery for us, as well as if we only have a couple of dot effects on us, we're able to use this skill as a purge of sorts. We are also using Shock Reach as our spammable and our stun. And we're using Bird of Prey to give us the minor berserk on the front bar, and our ultimate is going to be Northern Storm. This is going to be an AoE ultimate, dealing damage to everyone in the area, reducing their movement speed, giving us and our allies major protection, which will make us tankier, as well as giving us more max Magicka on the front bar, which will increase the damage of all our skills. The main reason I use This particular bar setup is, if you count them, we have 4 skills for animal companions on the front bar, which works with advanced species, giving us 12% extra damage, plus 8% from Bird of Prey through Minor Berserk, which is going to give us a total of 20% more damage on our front bar, which is really nice to have. On our back bar, we are running Harness Magicka. This is going to proc our Armor Master, as well as give us a decent sized shield. The reason I chose Harness over Dampen is simply because I like the regen it gives when you're taking spell damage. You can choose the other morph as well, though when I go into CP, you'll want to take the 10% points out of Bastion, as you'll already be at the 50% cap. When we go over to our next skill, it is Elusive Mist. We're going to use this when we're basically slowed down with roots and snares and you really don't have anywhere to go. This can get quite expensive as you don't regen Magicka in this form, so just be wary of that. As our next skill, we are using Ice Fortress, which is going to give us our major resistance buffs for 24 seconds. And then we're also going to gain Minor Protection, which will make us even tankier and works really well. For our burst heal, we're using Living Trellis. It's important to take this specific morph of Vines, as it's going to give you the burst heal at the end, as we are using this as a burst heal, versus the Enchanted Growth. This Vine is going to cost less and give us a little bit less healing, but overall I find it works better in most scenarios for myself. If you want to use the burst heal, that's totally up to you. And for our last skill, we're using Shimmering Shield. Pretty bread and butter for any Warden build. This is going to give us major heroism when hit by a projectile, and it's just really nice for ultimate regen in dealing with ranged threats. And for our back bar ultimate, I am using Healing Thicket, which is basically going to be our back bar oh shit healing button when we get low and we need healing, or if we have allies that need healing, and you can call this to help keep them alive. As far as champion points, we will start with the red tree. I am running 56 in Ironclad, 48 in Resistant, 37 Thick-Skinned, 42 Light Armor Focus. I run so much in Light Armor Focus to kind of cancel out the Breton passives, just because I don't like to have a high amount of spell pen and have a vast difference between my spell and physical resistance, 32 in Elemental Defender, 32 in Hardy, 23 in Bastion. Again, this is to equal out our Harness Shield to get it to 50% of our max health, which is the cap. If you're using Dampen, I would put this elsewhere. We're using 66 in Warlord, 16 in Sprinter, 56 in Arcanist, 64 in Tenacity, 2 into Tumbling, and 66 in the Shadow Ward. We are then using 19 Blessed, 48 Elfborn, 56 Elemental Expert, and 43 Spell Erosion, 11 Shattering Blows, 66 in Master at Arms, 16 in Staff Expert, and finally 11 in Thaumaturge. That is going to conclude the Magicka Warden build video for the Wrathstone patch. If you enjoyed the content, leave a comment below and tell me what you think, and leave a like as well. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.